Welcome to the Underground.
Turn me up, bitch!
My Little Underground with Peter A.
Level 24, My Little Underground. I'm Peter A. Don't forget to follow the show on Twitter and Instagram at MLU Pod. And you can talk to me as well, Peter A, at Peter A Radio, Twitter and Instagram as well. Subscribe to My Little Underground wherever you get podcasts. Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, iTunes, Stitcher, anywhere else you get podcasts. Got a special guest with me today, right here in New York City. Wooing is here.
Woo!
Welcome, JR and Rachel.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, anytime. So, since Wooing is basically a new project of yours, Rachel, I want you to walk me through the beginning of this project and how you connected with JR and Rosie.
Yeah, well, I was doing some other projects and just kind of like playing in random things, and then really wanted to start writing songs again on my own, and like collaborating with someone, and it all kind of fell into place pretty naturally, just like in the New York scene. I met JR through, actually, I used to have a podcast.
There you go.
Yes, so I know this feeling. And I played R. Stevie Moore on that podcast, and JR used to play guitar with R. Stevie. And I was a huge fan of R. Stevie, and he kind of became friends on Facebook, and yeah. So that's kind of how it happened, is like I found out about R. Stevie, started doing some backup vocals with him randomly when he would come to town, and that's how I met JR. And I thought he was the most incredible guitar player I'd ever seen. And I ran into him on the street once, and he was like, "If you ever need a guitarist," and I kind of thought he was joking. I was like, "What? No way."
I was, but I couldn't go back.
Yeah, the offer was there, and it just kind of happened that way. And then Rosie had played in one of my older bands before, so I'd like toured with her and known her quite well, and brought her into the project.
Did you have a business card, JR, that were you like, yeah, I'm a guitar player?
I was out at the time. I had run out, but
We made those.
Yes, those cards, which are hilarious. Yeah. But what it was that I was playing with Stevie, like she said, for a couple of years, and we were touring and stuff like that. And R. Stevie Moore, I don't know if you know him, if you're familiar with his music. He's known as the father of lo-fi music, or the father of DIY music.
He's an underground legend for sure.
I would say that there's no kind of underground rock that he doesn't kind of predate in an interesting way. He was putting out records in like the 70s that he was doing all himself, so kind of like Todd Rundgren or something like that, but maybe a little bit more eclectic, like a Zappa sort of thing, and also pop. You guys put out 400 records. But anyway, he was one of my favorites as well, and so I was playing for him at the time. And then Stevie, he's a little mischievous, and he likes to make a lot of last-minute, he calls a lot of audibles, so he'd say, hey, y'all gonna hate me for this, but we're gonna have like 3 or 4 people on stage tonight. Like, I got 2 other guitarists, I'm thinking, well, we're doing like 12 tunes, and they got a lot of changes. Like, I don't know if they're really going to know the changes. Like, I want to play my guitar. I'm playing as a guitarist, and I want to have these other guys like kind of figuring it out on stage. I don't want to do this. It's going to be so annoying, So, but he would do that, and sometimes it would work out, actually, and sometimes it wouldn't. But one time he'd done this, and Rachel was one of the musicians that had played. I think we actually met at that Shags tribute. Is that right?
Oh, yeah. That would have been right.
So I don't know if you know the Shags, but that's kind of a challenging accidentally avant-garde trio of daughters from California in the 60s. Anyway, they played in separate rooms when they tried to make their records, so everything's like completely cacophonous. It's like not in sync. And then the dad like printed up like 100 vanity pressing like copies or something, like no, not on a label, but it's like just the dad like made the record. He had no idea that kids couldn't really, I don't know what he thought, but anyway, they became like a cult thing because their music is just like so out there, and it's really beautiful. It's really, really interesting. And so R. Stevie Moore was doing a Shags tribute concert where they try to play the songs the way that they were recorded, which is really tough because
it's really hard.
Everything is out of sync. You know what I mean? And Rachel had a group called Super Cute. I was also playing the Shags tribute. So I went down to see Stevie. I met Rachel.
I love Super Cute.
Thanks.
And then like I guess a couple of weeks later, he did that. Oh, y'all gonna hate me, but I brought 4 musicians up on stage, and then it turned out that Rachel was one of them. And I thought, you know what? She's cool. Like I liked her vibe. Like she was kind of growling on the mic. She seemed like she belonged there, which I thought was really super.
I played tambourine, and after each show with Stevie, I'd have huge welts and bruises all over my leg from the tambourine.
You would tap it on
yeah,
your leg?
I was
Okay.
like, geez, I need to chill it out a bit. Like,
A very underrated instrument,
yeah,
I think.
it can be pretty hardcore if you want it to be.
That's great.
Yeah, Rachel's hardcore, but also I just wanted to say, on the street, right? That's because I work in wine. And I was working at a place called Uva Wines and Spirits on Bedford and 6th. And so Rachel's mom, Tina, makes art installations, like felt pigeon art installations. And she was doing that catty corner to the wine shop. So I'd see Rachel's mom all the time. So I'd be like, hi, Rachel's mom, you know. And one time I was there, and I saw Rachel there. Oh, Rachel, hey, you know, what's going on? What's new with you? You know, she's like, you know, like, not doing Super Cute anymore. I'm like kind of doing my own thing. And I was like, well, you know, if you want to jam sometime, like, let's get together and play. And so she took me up on it. That's my side of the story.
Yeah.
So when you guys are like transitioning from project to project, do you guys ever feel this kind of anxiety or this kind of fear of failure or fear of success that you're kind of moving on to something else and the thing you were doing before was kind of comfortable? Did you guys feel that way or no?
Yeah, I kind of get to the point where it's like I'll just be busy just to be busy and not be like, I don't know, I wanted to find a project which is now wooing that like is comfortable and isn't just for the sake of it. So yeah, I can relate to that a bit.
I like I like making music. I think if the music is happening, you know, you find out eventually. I mean, it's funny, even if you don't, like the first couple times you get together with a musician, I think you know if it's gonna work out. There's really no need to have anxiety about something like that because either it's gonna happen or not, and you'll know. So like the first couple times Rachel and I played together, it wasn't like we were really writing songs or anything. I think there was just probably a little bit of, I mean, there were her songs in the beginning, but there was a lot of like kind of free, loose, like, not Captain Beefheart, but definitely like some free moments to it. And I always thought that whenever we just sat down and played guitar, it just made sense right from the get. So I think we just keep pursuing that, and it keeps turning into different things, and those things are cool, or at least to me, you know, to us, they're cool.
It's like building from the ground up, and there's something special about that, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think music, it's hard to talk about it, I guess, in this kind of philosophical terms, but I just think, like, you know, if you get together and it's happening, then, you know, you see what's, you know, you keep doing it. And I mean, sometimes you have to be more thoughtful about it. Like, are we going to make a record? Are we going to, like, try and, like, you know, do things that, you know, might be good for the band to be more visible or success-oriented and things like that. And you have to do that, but I think in terms of just like from an artistic standpoint, I think you just got to let it happen and roll with it.
So from what I understand, Rachel, you've been playing music since you were like a kid, and you were in a band with your family.
Yes.
The Trachtenburg slideshow players. Did I say that right?
Trachtenburg family slideshow players.
Yeah. So tell me about this group. What did you guys have? I mean, for you when you were playing in this group at such a young age, did you get a taste of the industry, the music industry, when you were in this group, or it was just like, oh, I'm playing with my family, and it's all fun, we're just having fun?
I think I got a good taste of it.
Okay.
Yeah. It started from like age 16 through 14. I mean, age 6 through 14. So yeah, it started when I was a kid, and we were playing in Seattle for a while, and then moved to New York City for the band, and did Conan O'Brien and like
What?
Yeah, lots of touring, and so I spent most of my childhood on the road, in like a van. So yeah, I feel like I got a good amount of a taste for just like what the industry is and how it's just changing so much, though. So it's like even if you get a taste for it 10 years ago, it's like it's going to be totally different now.
Yeah.
So I feel like I have a grasp of, or I had a grasp of what it was in the early 2000s, and now I feel like I have a grasp of what it is now too.
Right.
So yeah.
And following this project, did you guys ever kind of were you guys ever a part of like the New York City kind of DIY scene?
Yeah, definitely.
So to speak. Did you guys go to a lot of like house shows and whatnot?
Yeah, I went to a lot of house shows as like a teenager, and just like all the venues, especially growing up in the city, a lot of them weren't 21 plus to start with, or like I knew the door person and could just get in or whatever. So places like the Old Knitting Factory or like Cake Shop, and I feel like a lot of the venues were way more welcoming to all ages during that time. So that was really cool to be able to like, even Sidewalk Cafe, and like seeing like Regina Spektor and Kimya Dawson, all these people who like.
Love Kimya Dawson.
Yeah, she's amazing. I've toured with her a few times. She's really, really cool. And
with Super Cute?
With the family band.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's definitely amazing to see people like that from somewhat from the beginning. And yeah, I loved going to like house shows. I don't really do that as much. JR grew up in Texas.
Really?
Were there house shows there?
Yeah, that's all there was. I mean, that's not all there was. There were great clubs there. There was a club, Rubber Gloves, which you've played actually, and I've played, of course, a bunch of times.
Is that the one by the train tracks?
By the train tracks, that's right.
What part of Texas?
Denton, Texas, which is just north of Dallas.
Okay.
So yeah, I didn't move to New York until I was 25. So I spent a lot of time, playing music, delivering pizza or just working whatever job and playing. But when you talk about scene, I was really surprised when I moved to New York that the scene isn't so much of a scene. Like when I think of a music scene, right, and I think about Texas, I think about, hey, I'm having a party and it's gonna be like the same 50 people are gonna show up. And maybe we're gonna like do a cookout, or maybe it's gonna just be like a lot of cans of beer, and it would be like 10 bands playing, and we'll do this till like 4 a.m, and then so everybody knows everybody, everyone's hanging out and like getting drunk or whatever with each other, like just it's like a daily thing. If you get up in the morning and like you walk to like the grocery store or something like that, then you see like a friend from like the party last night like walking the other way. So small town, much more integrated. So when I came to New York and I'd read all the like the punk kind of 70s New York like stories,
Please Kill Me.
Please Kill Me, yeah, things like that. I thought like, well, there'll be like there's going to be a community here. But in New York, I mean, by the time I got here, and that was a long time ago, but by the time I got here, it was already so expensive. It was just so expensive that like people can't just like fuck off and hang out and rock and roll all the time, which is exactly what I was doing in Texas, right? I was just kind of worthless, just playing music all the time.
Yeah, and we're all working folks, so when you come off of a hard day's work and there's a few bands that you like that you want to support that are playing a show, well, at least for me, sometimes I'm too tired. I gotta go home and get some sleep. Yeah, you know what I mean.
And then it's very rare to find free music nights where I came from that you could find them all the time. So people just, hey, let's just go down the street and like hang out and drink beer for like $2 a beer and like watch bands. That also creates an environment, I think.
Yeah. So before you moved to New York and still in Texas, did you ever feel like the town, or like not the town, so to speak, like the people making music, like that environment, did you ever feel like it's been like compromised by like maybe the neighborhood getting better, or other kinds of artistic people kind of being pushed out?
I think
what's happening in New York.
I think I left before that happened. It's a small town. Mm-hmm. I think it was about population 60,000 when I was there. So that's not too small. They had 2 universities there. There was Texas Women's and there was North Texas University. It's just where I grew up. I mean, I went to junior college for like 6 weeks and dropped out. But now it's like more like 100,000 or 120,000, and so they've torn down a lot of the spots that were cool hangout places, and they've put these like vertical shitty like little townhomes there, and the rents are like almost like New York rents. I think they just know that like the parents are gonna like put the kids, they can the kids can't really afford it. They're not like getting that money from like work, but they can get like their parents or something to pay for their rent, and so they're charging more. So I mean, maybe now it's a lot harder, but at the time, artistic compromise wasn't even like a possibility. I mean, everybody was doing whatever the fuck they wanted to. Everyone had 4 bands. People made their own instruments or did kind of crazy shit. You know, it was a very, very free, kind of super left liberal kind of rock scene.
I grew up in New York my whole life, and I had no idea that people like just put on shows. I'm thinking the only places that concerts exist are like arenas and stuff like that. So when I got into college, that's when I saw a lot of people just putting on shows in their basements and what have you. And since you guys have been in New York, have you seen a change in like the DIY scene, so to speak, in New York? Or
I think it has a lot to do with finances too. Like you see venues just not being able to really survive, or like get affected by one fire and then can't kind of just like build up again. But I don't know. I mean, it's a certain age that you seek that out, and I know that I'm not seeking that out as much, so I'm sure it still exists. I would hope so.
You're seeking out music still, right?
Of course,
Okay.
yeah, but not looking to like spend the night in a basement. Like,
of course not.
For the most part. I mean, we've done some pretty underground shows where like it's so cold you like lose circulation even though you're inside. But
I remember that.
Yeah.
I know which one you're talking about.
We had the other band we were playing with like set up little vases of flowers around the stage. I was like, we're gonna get electrocuted. Like something bad is gonna happen tonight.
Come closer to the mic, JR.
Sorry, I was just giggling there. But
Yeah.
I'll giggle closer.
Giggling in the distance.
Yep.
Giggling in the distance. That's our next song.
Yeah.
Seriously, do that. Write that down on your calendar.
So yeah, I feel like I'm not in it as much in that way, but I would hope that there's still like those like younger bands like doing house shows and stuff in Bushwick.
It has to be luxury. I mean, if you want to have a space, right, where it's big enough to put on shows, you're going to have to finance that in New York, right? That's just like that. Where I was living in Texas, I was paying $200 a month in rent. Now, this is a long time ago, but that was still cheap. And we, 4 or 5 of us in a big old house, right? A huge living room. I mean, all you had to do to put on a show was just say, hey, you want to come and play in my living room? And then you like text or just call, a dozen people or something like that. Next thing you know, you have 100 people in your front yard. Cops are going to come and shut it down, but you probably get a good run of 2 or 3, 4 hours of just rocking and rolling. In New York, have I noticed a change? I'm not that plugged into it in that way. Most of my experience playing in New York has been, it just feels like these isolated pockets. Like you play one club. Sometimes you see the same people, but it doesn't feel like a music, scene per se. I think it's much more ambiguous, I guess.
I'd say one of the best shows I've ever been to was in a garage on Long Island. Yeah, there was a bonfire outside. There was a drag show, and people were really just kind of into it. There was crowd surfing in a garage.
That's cool.
I've never seen that before.
Has that come back?
Well, I saw that like
Crowd
2 years
surfing?
ago at a garage. I've seen that at like regular, like bigger stages and stuff like that, but never in a garage or anything like that. I just think people they'll create what they want to see in a show.
Yeah.
I think that you can close down every club, but there's going to be somebody in somebody's basement wilding out one night. You know what I mean? It's always going to be there.
Especially living in New York with this energy, it's like music is always going to be that saving grace to like you're saying, if you're exhausted after a full day's work and don't want to take 2 trains to like get to a venue, it's like, yeah, the majority of the time. But when you do make it out, it's like, it's going to be so rewarding to like see a band live.
Yeah.
So.
If the band is cool.
If the band is cool, right? So let's go to the West Coast for a second. Rachel, I know you played in the Paranoids. So what brought you to L.A. and then back to New York?
Oh, I've never played in that.
You never?
No, I was in the Prettiets. Is that what you're?
The Prettiets. Oh, right.
I do know I don't know them personally, but I know friends who've played with the Paranoids.
Yeah, I just got them confused for a second.
Oh, no worries.
I love the Prettiets. I miss them. How are they doing? Are you still talking to them?
No, we're not in touch.
Okay.
But yeah, that was just like a brief thing for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How was that?
There's a lot that can be said that I would rather not say.
Okay.
So we'll just leave it at that.
Yeah.
But no, we don't talk.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Her lawyer can craft a response or a statement.
Enough said.
Things
Enough
get
said.
catty. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I was at a show once, and I asked someone who was in another band, and this band was playing a show, and I asked them, "Are you going to see this band? Because you were in that band," and then they were like, "It wasn't amicable," so
Yeah.
I kind of left it alone there.
Yeah.
Talk to me about your connection with Kanine Records. Like, how'd you guys get involved with them?
Yeah, so they reached out to us. And I feel like they've kickstarted a lot of really cool bands, and we felt like it was a good home to put out this last 7-inch.
Yeah.
They certainly didn't tell us like how to make music or anything like that, which is always cool of a record label to let you do your thing. They're really nice. And they're super supportive. They've come out to a bunch of shows, which is really nice.
So they quote unquote discovered you guys, or is that how that communication started?
We'd been playing for a while, and we'd already released music on Bada Bing Records.
Yeah. What I mean is, like, did they reach out to you guys?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, they reached out to us and just expressed some nice feelings, and we thought we've been enjoying releasing stuff on local labels recently, and felt
Building
like
our cred.
Yeah.
Told Warner Brothers to wait. We were like, I'm sorry, we got to put a few.
Start a bidding war for wooing. Let's do it right now. Are you guys fans of any of the groups on K9? I know I am. I can go all day
they
about
have
them.
some really good
Yeah.
stuff.
Beverly,
Yep.
Hockey Dad's on there.
Surfer Blood, is it right? Am I right? No?
Is Surfer Blood? I'm not sure. They have
Maybe in
a
the
pretty big
past.
roster.
And then, didn't they put out like one of the first like Grizzly Bear recordings
I
as
know
well?
the Blows released stuff with them.
Chairlift, their
Yep.
first album.
Yeah.
Yeah. I missed that group.
Chairlift, unbelievable. Yeah.
Phenomenal. I didn't get to, because every time I tried to go see them, sold out.
Yeah.
Yep. Especially around their last album, Moth. Phenomenal stuff. So your EP, Daytime Time Machine.
Daydream Time Machine.
Daydream.
No worries. Yeah, Daydream
Oh,
Time
man.
Machine was the first one, and
Totally messing up today. You guys were here before me. I'm not punctual to my own podcast.
we got this.
Yeah.
it's
I'm gonna let
one
you
of
guys
those
see the shit
days.
now.
The L train's down. Like
There you go.
What do you?
But it's always
expect?
down.
Yeah.
And it smells like gasoline now.
Yes.
Oh no.
Oh,
Really?
Yeah. For
Yeah,
like
for the
2
gram.
weeks.
Is that one?
Oh man, it's the worst. At the first, what was it like on Monday? Maybe not this Monday, but the Monday before, I was getting on the train going to the city to work, and I was like, "Fuck, that smells like gasoline." Like, what the hell happened? You know, it was like somebody like on this train, like wearing like a jacket that's like soaked and got like, what is going on? Next stop, same story. Next stop, the whole time to Union Square where I get off and I go to work. And that's gross. And then the next day, same story, and I saw that it had been on, gotten in like to Twitter and everything like that, a bunch of people were puking on the L train because it was smelling so bad. And they said it was like diesel fumes because they'd like done some work down there and they had these like diesel trains that came in, but then they changed the story and say it's like an oil leak. And now some people think it might be like that oil that was like buried in Greenpoint. That's,
Move
like,
to
super
New York.
toxic, and, like
Everyone
slowly
get
like
here.
seeping its way through. I don't know if that's true. I wouldn't know, but it doesn't smell so much like gasoline anymore, but it's still a little bit at gram.
Well, every time I'm on, it's always ridiculously crowded, and it's a pretty like wide train because I take the 1 every morning, and that's like kind of it's very tight, but yeah, the L train is never it's never fun. So let me get the name right again. Daydream Time Machine.
Yeah.
You guys worked with producer Bryce Goggin, right?
Yeah.
And he worked with a lot of he worked with
He's
the
done
Stripes, right?
Pavement.
Pavement, yeah.
Who else? Apples and Stereo.
He's a rocker.
He's
Yeah.
incredible.
He's not a mod. He's a rocker.
No, yeah. That's so. How did you guys get connected with him?
We reached out to him.
Yellow
Oh.
Pages.
Yeah. Yeah, we were like,
Yellow Pages? For real?
Not exactly, but the internet Yellow Pages.
There you go.
Yeah. I was listening to a lot of Pavement and was just like Googling and saw, I think Stephen Malcolm, one of his quotes was like, oh, like he saved that record. I can't remember which one it was, but thought it would be a cool person to work with. And he records on tape too. And That was a really fun. It was our first time in the studio all together, and it was a great experience.
It was impressive to hear back, and the drums sounded pretty big, and we don't have bass, right? It's 2 guitars, no bass, drums, and that's a little bit atypical. I mean, just there are bands that do it, but I was really thrilled on the playback that he got like this kind of big power rock sound with that.
Kind of reminds you of Steve Albini. Like his drums are very just.
He's the best
in your
business.
face. Yeah, phenomenal.
Yeah.
Every one of my favorite albums, some of them have been produced by him. But he's an engineer too.
What are your favorite records that he's done?
Well, the last 2 Ty Segall albums.
Yeah, they sound very good.
The Breeders' Last Splash.
Last Splash is the best.
Yes. PJ Harvey's Rid of Me.
Mm-hmm.
And Nirvana's In Utero.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure there's plenty more. He did the Mets' last album, but I didn't love it. But it was still kind of like, it still sounded great.
To be pedantic, the Breeders record that he did wasn't Last Splash, but the first one called Pod.
Pod, yeah.
Which is with when they do the Beatles cover that's so good.
Yeah.
And,
Happiness is where I'm going.
Happiness is where I'm going. And Hellbound on that record too is so good.
Yeah.
But he did the first Pixies record, the
That's
Surfer
right.
Rosa.
Yeah.
That was a major.
Did he do the first 3?
No, that would be Gil Norton who took over in Doolittle.
Yep. I love Doolittle.
Showing my age a little bit.
Great stuff.
Here.
So, how do you guys think artists who are broke and have no money can connect with very talented and helpful producers and engineers?
Hoping that you could explain that to us.
Save. Yeah.
It's just an email.
Yeah,
Speed
like
forward.
we're recording with Jay Robbins,
Mhm.
which he was in Burning Airlines and Jawbox and a bunch of what other bands?
Jawbox is the big one.
Yeah.
To me.
And we're really excited to work with him. And he has like a similar. He's been compared to Steve Albini sound-wise here and there. So yeah, we just saved and we're gonna go record with him in like a few weeks. So we're really excited about that. I've been listening to Burning Airlines a bunch lately and very excited to work with him. And he was like, your music's great, like I can't wait. So I think it's just about staying true to your sound and then reaching out when the timing's right.
And kind of having material ready to work with.
Yeah.
And not kind of just starting from ground zero.
At least for us, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I highly discourage anyone except for jazz artists to go into the studio without without songs.
Yeah.
If it's jazz, I guess you can do it all live, and there's a lot of improvisation, and also like the mic setup's just not like that complicated. You don't have to like go back and do like 20 tracks. I guess you can do that on a jazz record, but people not the ones I listen to. But
Speaking of jazz, me and my brother were listening to John Coltrane on the way here.
Which John Coltrane?
I think it was a live album he did. What's the name? I could pull it up real quick. Yeah, it was amazing. Because I was reading this article from on Pitchfork, and they were kind of talking about Henry Rollins's like albums that he listened throughout his course of his life. Like at 5 years old, what he was listening to when he was up until now at 50. A Love Supreme.
Oh sure.
Yeah.
Love
Beautiful
Supreme.
stuff.
His wife Alice Coltrane makes this beautiful harp, or made these beautiful harp records that are like super Eastern, kind of like mystical sounding. I don't know if you know them.
No.
I love to put them on and do hang out in my house. It's good music to just kind of listen to.
Have you ever heard Irreversible Entanglements?
No, I don't know that.
Oh, amazing. Very political, but just beautiful jazz music. The instrumentation is just lush. And the
Entanglements.
Irreversible Entanglements. Yeah, they're under Don Giovanni.
Okay.
Yeah, Screaming Females. Yeah, great label. What are you guys listening to now? JR's like, oh, no.
I listen to a lot of Breeders. A lot of Burning Airlines right now. I've been listening to a lot of Sunflower Bean.
Yeah.
Julia's in that band.
Yep.
What else? I listen to a lot of older music, or just like I've been trying to do more recent stuff, but it's hard. Cardigans.
How is it hard to listen to new music? That's all I do.
Yeah, I don't know. I just get stuck in just hearing older, like, just stuff that's not past the 90s, really.
Stereolab?
I haven't gotten into Stereolab.
I've got very deep into Stereolab.
I love Stereolab.
I saw them on their Sound Dust tour, which was the last tour with Mary Hansen.
R.I.P.
Yeah, but that was quite a performance. They were very good. A band like that, you don't really know if it's going to be a live thing because it's keyboards a lot and it's very controlled. It's a kind of a studio thing. But it was marvelous live. Yeah,
I think they're doing some shows this summer. I think. Yeah.
I wonder if my friend is playing in that. I should ask this guy, Julian Gask, who's somebody that I listen to a lot. He's played with Laetitia Sadier, who's the singer. Yeah. So he's from Toulouse, and when I was touring with Stevie, we played in Toulouse, and we hung out with Julian a few times. He's a genius. I would highly recommend anyone listening to this to check out Julian Gask. That's Gasc. Yeah. He's made a few records that are they're very French. Like very. Kind of sensual, like major 7 add 9 kind of chord things, very lush, but really, really minimal at the same time. Yeah.
Yeah. So I know last week you guys were supposed to hang out with me, but Rachel, you had a Fashion Week gig, right? Tell me about that.
Yeah.
If you can talk about it. No lawyers or litigation involved.
Yeah, it was a presentation for Fashion Week. It was fun. I do modeling as like some other work, and sometimes there's a little bit of a juggling act that has to happen with
you juggle
band. With band and acting and music and just kind of life.
Oh yeah, metaphorical juggling.
Yes. But yeah, thank you for going with our schedule. I really appreciate that.
Yeah. So how was I hear Fashion Week is kind of just nuts and crazy. Like did you see anything of the superstardom category?
No, I think it's just kind of what you make of it. I usually don't do Fashion Week because I'm on the shorter end for models, but
you did the runway.
This year there's like runway and then there's presentations, which is more like you kind of bop around or like sit in a corner instead of walk down a runway. But yeah, I worked for this Italian brand. Yeah, it's fun. It's a crazy world, fashion. But if you don't get too deep in it, it's a good thing. Yeah.
What are some preconceptions about modeling that people wouldn't understand?
I think people think it's really glamorous.
Mm-hmm. Like me?
It's a major hustle.
It's you have to really take care of yourself because it's very easy to run on empty in it and just like push yourself to the limit. So I've definitely met a lot of really cool people and worked with really amazing creative types and stuff, and that's like what I look forward to in it. And
well, your coat looks very chic.
This is actually my great-grandmother's coat.
Even more chic.
Yeah.
Vintage.
Vintage. But yeah, it's fun. I think fashion and everything kind of feeds into music, and it can be all involved if you want it to be. And yeah.
So you also did some acting, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you did a shooting for an unaired TV pilot, right?
I've done some short films and just like different low budget stuff. And I've been doing some acting classes recently, and I acted in Sharon Van Etten's new music video, which was really cool. And that was a great experience just to get to work with her. She's someone who I really look up to as far as just like a really badass lady who's making all sorts of cool things happen. So yeah, it kind of I've done like different projects. Yeah.
Did you do TV?
No, I haven't done TV.
No.
Yet.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Let's get this going. Let's get a TV pilot rolling.
Yes.
Talk to Kanine. Let's make this happen. Netflix and Hulu.
Yeah.
We got to see that happen.
Kanine, can we have $1 million to make a TV show?
Didn't the Monkees have a TV show too?
That's right.
Yeah.
we're too busy singing to put anybody down.
Or you could just film all your tour journey and stuff like that.
We
Kinda put
tried.
it up.
I gotta say, it's pretty tricky. You know, the tour schedule is so tight.
Mm-hmm.
It's very. That's speaking of non-glamorous. Not that I mind it. It's actually, in a lot of ways, it's really fun and it's really satisfying to tour, especially to see the band will get better when you play night after night after night. You're kind of focused on it. But it's definitely not glamorous, and you really don't have a lot of time. I mean, you have to get up in the morning, and you get in a car, and you're there for 4 or 5 hours, and you'll get to the venue. Maybe it's time for sound check, you know. Before you know it, you're up on stage. I mean, it just all happens so fast, and maybe you eat some, like, bag of chips and, you know, a sandwich or something, and I don't know, you check your phone, but, like, it's not like...
Brush your teeth.
Yeah, sometimes, but it's not. It's not. You don't like have that much time. I mean, unless you have days off, but you try to avoid days off because it's so expensive.
Yeah. So you guys have new music in the works, and not just 7-inch and singles.
Yeah, we've
Okay.
been working on a lot of new music.
Yeah.
The plan as far as album versus what we're releasing next is not set in stone right now. But after these next recordings, I'm sure that will help us figure it out what our next move is.
Could be a double album.
There you go. Yeah.
Every time Rachel and I get together and play guitar, something happens, and that's I think going back to the very beginning. That's what I really enjoy about.
So do you guys have another single plan, or you don't know what's coming next?
Maybe
Yeah,
it's still
up in the air.
Yeah, I think we know, but we'll just in case
We'll just
in
say
case
we
we're
don't
wrong.
know.
Yeah.
Okay. So do you guys have an album's worth of material in the can?
It depends on how long we play the songs. Sometimes they can really go and go. So maybe it's an EP, maybe it's an album. But there are a lot of like kind of just ideas that we have right now that I think we're really attracted to. That I think we could definitely make a record with. You know?
That's fair enough. We're not really revealing too much. I know you guys have a lot of shows coming up. This is
Yeah.
your time.
Yes.
Let us know where you're playing.
Okay. So we are very excited to be going on tour with the Black Lips in April and Fucked Up and
Quintron. Miss Pussycat.
Yes. So that's going to be really fun. And we haven't toured in most of these cities that we'll be going to. We've mostly done West Coast and like Texas dates so far. So we're starting off. This isn't a part of the tour, but our next show is going to be March 7th at Pianos, which is going to be a Kanine Records night.
Yeah.
And that will be fun. We're going on last. And then after that, we start the tour dates and just flipping the pages. We start off in Philly, and we're doing 2 New York dates at Bowery Ballroom with the Black Lips, and that's going to be April 19th and 20th. And then the rest of the dates are on our site. We're going to Boston and a few dates in Canada and Chicago.
To film a TV show.
Yeah,
do a
all
little
over.
movie.
So that will be really fun.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to do 2 nights at Bowery. We've played there before.
We did with Reed.
Yeah.
That was fun.
Yeah, so it'll be cool. I love playing Bowery. It's such a good place. So I'm excited for that tour. And yeah.
Did you guys
Good
go to that
spring.
K9 holiday show at Alphaville a couple of years ago?
No, we wouldn't have even known about K9 that far back, I don't think.
Yeah. We've played Alphaville.
Yeah.
Didn't we play with that Japanese band that was really good that played after us? Do you remember this?
Parakeet?
No. Do you remember?
I remember. I can't think of their name right now.
They
Tree
were
Cot?
so cool. I don't know. They were like really.
It was like a boy band.
Yeah, they were like. Well, I mean, yeah, they were like a rock, kind of a guitar rock band, but they were so. At the beginning, they were kind of like starting very kind of quiet, but they really built up a head of steam, and it was a very convincing show. Gosh, I wish I remember the name of the group. I'll have to go and look it up.
Do you guys know Weeping Icon? They're another group on K9.
Yeah, I don't know the music. They're
Are they good? I've
heard of
their
them.
name,
Very good.
yeah.
Very, very good. So wooing, thank you guys for coming on the show. Rachel, JR, you guys were a
Yeah.
blast.
Thanks for having us.
Where can people follow you on the Twitter and Instagram?
Oh yeah. It's Wooing WOOING BAND Wooing Band, and that's on Instagram and Twitter and the .com. and Facebook.
And the TV show's coming to Hulu.
Yes.
2020. The movie's going to be in theaters 2025. So be on the lookout for that. It's level 24 of My Little Underground. I'm Peter A. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Peter A Radio. Follow the show as well. MLU Pod, Twitter and Instagram.
Thank
and subscribe
you, Peter.
everywhere.
Yeah,
No
thank you
problem,
very much.
guys. You guys were a blast.